is the state of the nation? Is it found in speeches and plans, or in the trust between leaders and the people? Each year the nation gathers to hear words of direction, purpose made clear, promises spoken, visions defined, leadership measured by action and time. So tell us, leaders, what is the state of the nation entrusted to you to shape? Is it guided by duty, strengthened by truth? The answer lives in responsibility to the people. Power is granted, not owned outright, held in trust and returned to the light. History remembers not words alone, but the care with which authority is shown. Leadership, 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 leadership is about taking responsibility. Not making excuses. So what is the state? Clearly defined by accountable action and transparent design. The nation listens, the mandate is clear, to lead with honesty, courage and care. State of the nation is not a nation. It's not a memento. It is a responsibility.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Night Debate. Tonight, we are going to be looking at the State of the Nation address by President Joseph Numa Boakai that is slated for Monday. That is Monday, January 26th. So tonight is the State of the Nation before the State of the Nation. Let me welcome the people that are here to do this. Mr. Anthony CA, he is the political bulldog, so we cannot talk SONA without CA. Welcome, Mr. CA.
Dennis, it's good to be here, and I want to take this time to welcome our many followers, viewers, both via Facebook and YouTube, for sticking with us. Thank you for being on this journey of, being part of something that represents our nation, Liberia. SONA, yeah, let's talk SONA tonight.
Hey, thank you. Let me welcome Mr. J. Victor Namwe, fresh from the mother's land. He is FOL political analyst. Welcome, Mr. Namwe.
Thank you, Mr. Jazz. Good to be with you here.
And again, let me welcome Dr. Jones Otavius Mali, who's also fresh from the mother's land. Welcome, Dr. Mali, to discuss the state of the nation before the state of the nation.
Oh, thank you, moderator, and my greeting to fellow panelists.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe tonight. As I said, we're going to be discussing the state of the nation before the state of the nation, because President Boakai is expected to do that. So let me start by saying the purpose of the state of the nation is to account for power, set national direction, and give citizens a basis to judge leadership by results, again, rather than rhetoric. So the State of the Nation will be setting that agenda. So let me start by saying, let us first agree on that basis. Dr. Malley, in your mind, what is the purpose of the State of the Nation address that President Bouakas is expected to give?
Well, I believe it's one of the social contract tools between the government and the citizenry. And I also believe that the SONA is not law and gospel. It is a sensitive political tool or a moral compass of a government in power, setting the basis of a roadmap, taking the nation to what they believe in, what they think should be happening for the citizenry. So I agree with you to some extent that it's a tool to guard the government. So in short, I see it as a roadmap to direct this government as to where it's taking the society. And I'm very sure also now are not stagnant. They are shaped by ongoing prevailing circumstances in society. Some are manageable and some are not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Namwe, a credible State of the Nation address answered 3 questions clearly. Where are we? How did we get here? What will be done next, and by whom? Let me get your opinion on the SONA that we are expecting to hear from the president on Monday.
Well, yeah, thank you very much. It's good to be here again. And I don't disagree with Dr. Malley. I think it should give us a roadmap. But before it does that, I think it should also give us an inventory of what the government has done over the past 12 months, comparing performance delivered to promises. And so the president would tell us what has transpired the last time that he spoke to us, between that time to now, what the government has done for the people of Liberia. And then we'll go on to the roadmap that Dr. Malley mentioned. We will look to the future. And then he will be giving us an indication of where the government intends to take us over the next 12 months. So yes, we will answer the 3 questions. How do we get to where we are? Where exactly are we now? And then where are we going next? So I think the president will try to paint a picture of that nature to update us on what has happened. And then try to lead us into the future, looking to 2026.
Thank you. Mr. Sear, is this SONA come soon? we just had, how did it appear to you? Is it like, oh, it's time for another SONA? When you hear that SONA is coming, or is it something that you are expecting, that you've been anticipating?
No, Dennis, I did not think of it until you brought it to my attention that, hey, next week, Monday, is the SONA, and the president, as required by the Constitution, must report to the nation how he, was able to handle the affairs of the country, and to tell us nothing but the truth on the challenges, the prospects, the successes they've had, and also tell us what the agenda going to be going forward, given the experiences over the time. And so, yeah, it comes so soon. I didn't know that we ever in another year. This is 2026. How could I not, remember that? But I think this government is, the time flies. People say. So I'm glad that we have the opportunity to hear from the president. This is 2 years now of stewardship. All right. And so we want to hear much more accurate account based on truth, on what has been achieved, what the challenges were, and then he can project what the prospect is going to be going forward.
And before we even get into all that, what is the feeling, Mr. Namwe? It appears that 2025 was a lot went on. Maybe that's why things went by so fast, right? And what I also sense is like, do people feel really tired, especially when you look at what's going on in Liberia, what's going on here, that in between their 2025, did people actually lose the steam or lose interest? What is your feeling going into this SONA as to how people are feeling? Like Mr. Sia, who is laser focused on these things, it came as a surprise to him. Why do you think people have this kind of feeling at this time?
Well, I don't know if the people are really kind of surprised that 12 months have ended. I think what the people are concerned with really is what it is that this government is delivering for the people. I mean, since the past 2 years now, we've been talking about yellow machine. We're still talking about yellow machines. Just today, yellow machines, are still, in the news. I think there is a hangover of expectation and delivery. People are waiting with anticipation. I know the president's his supporters will say, he's moving around the world trying to find help, and I get that. But like you indicated, all of us are in and out of the country. When you get in, you don't feel the excitement. Look, I was in town during Christmas. Many of the people didn't have money to go to the streets to go and have a good time. I drove from Cinco to go to the airport. I was worried I would be late and miss my flight. We got from Cinco to the airport in under an hour, And so are the people excited and happy about what this government is doing? I don't know if the common person is feeling it. I know the president, his supporter will say, the president is doing big things. He got the $200 million from a settlement, all of that. But as to the ordinary person feeling what the government is doing, I think if the people feel the government is succeeding, then they will have to acknowledge the disconnect between what seems to be achievement in their perception and to what the people are actually feeling. I don't think a lot of people feel this government as succeeding on their behalf. Yes, some of the people in the government have graduated from one luxurious car to one luxurious apartment so they're living it up. I met some of the president's young ministers, at Savvy Lounge. We were having cigars. They're living it up. But how many of our people are feeling the way they're feeling? I think that's the question they need to answer. Their own Spoon TV and your FOL has taken the microphone to the streets. You don't hear people jumping up and down and feeling excited about what this government is doing. I think that's the best gauge of what this government is doing for our people. If you come back, FOL comes from the streets and bring happy people, marketers, praising this government, I think success would have been achieved. I mean, that's how I look at it.
Thank you. Elvis, welcome. How crucial is this State of the Nation address? Because this is we are getting at the midway point of the first term of President Boakai. Also, I'm not sure if there will be election before 2029. I think so, right? So, yeah. So how crucial is it looking at where we are with everything that is going on, the economy, or elections coming, maybe some midterm elections, and then we have the 2029. Now we are at the middle point. And I say this because by the time we enter these elections, people are so focused now on elections rather than actually governing. You're doing things to prepare for the next, campaign. So how crucial is this year's SONA?
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. John. Hello to you, Mr. Number, Dr. Mala, Mr. Shia. I think it's very important. And I say it's important not because, the state of the nation is better, but I think the path that the president would take in delivering his message to the Liberian people, if he goes there and try to puff his government up and say that things are doing well and they're having so much success, I think that would be the wrong way to go about it. He has to appeal to the Liberian people that he knows that they're struggling, he knows that things are tough, but he has certain plans in place that will improve their lives in the coming years. So if he doesn't do that and he try to make the people feel like their eyes or their pockets, their pocketbooks are lying to them, you know, they're telling them they have less money, but in reality, the government is telling them they're doing well, then that would be the wrong path for him to take. I will say that things have gotten better in certain aspects, in certain sectors. Like Mr. Number was just there recently. You know, though the economy is struggling, but there's some perception of our country because I have foreigner friends who've been to Liberia and said that the country is quote unquote cleaner than it was the last couple of years. They see a lot of development going on, like the overhead bridge, other things that people who are not regularly in the country see that they seem to think the country is going the right direction in terms of development. But I think economically, the people are struggling, like Mr. Nabu is saying. A lot of people are out of school right now because of hard economic times. I think the president has to tell us what's going on in FOIA. He has to talk to the nation publicly. He can't be obfuscating and be, nonchalant when something so big is happening in his backyard. He has to tell us where that FOIA mansions are coming from. He has to conduct, himself with transparency, especially the targeting of the former government. What's going on with the former first ladies, property, the asset recovery team. He has to put in some concrete details in what they're doing. And, he has to kind of calm the country down that they're not going out of, they're not going after their political opponents. And if he can do that and maybe bring the country closer together and reassure the Liberian people that things are going to look better for them in the coming years, especially economically, and the pocketbooks are going to be fatter in the next year, and they have concrete plans in place, maybe they'll give the people hope. But as you said, Mr. Jai, at this point in any president's term, people are kind of in a comatose state. They're kind of just going now, hoping for the next election cycle so that they can elect a new leader. But I think the president himself is tired. The Liberian people themselves are tired. They don't have the energy to really engage too much politically. That's why we see the online political content is kind of waning. But in the next couple of years, it's going to pick back up when the interest in politics peak, coming up to the election.
Thank you. Talking about that, Dr. Mali, if the president were forbidden from praising his administration, and there's a hypothetical situation, if the president was forbidden from praising his administration, what would the honest state of the nation be?
Well, I think the president is under constitutional mandate to tell us exactly where we came from and where we are going. So with reference to your question, politically, it's not feasible for the president to appear down there, undress himself, and turn himself into an angel and try to say the real truth. I have never seen that happen in history, because there's a tradition that we must find justification to tell the Liberian people what we have done and why we think we did what we did and where we are heading. So to answer your question, Mr. Moderator, that is quite impossible. Yes, for the president to grade himself either F or C, all politicians, including this government, will appear down there and present a deliverable that is appealing to them. It's appealing to us. That's a different thing. Because there is no way I will be telling my story to please the listener. All right? To say, oh, yes, I feel here. I feel here. In fact, I have failed almost 95% the last 2 years. I'm waiting for the generation of politicians who will rather do that, Mr. Moderator. Mm-hmm. So I think the president is going to make a case that, yes, we took the government from this point. We are at this point. Things are not too fine, but there are a lot of signal at the end of the tunnel. I'm very sure this is the direction the government is going to go.
Thank you. Mr. Sia, what would an honest state of the nation from President Boubacar be like? What would it look like?
Well, an honest state of the nation will assess what progress has been made accurately, what also have been the challenges and what the challenges actually are and why they were not able to meet those challenges, the successes they had, what actually are they, and did they actually impact the life of the people in any significant way. And an honest state of the nation will assess the improvement in the human and material conditions of the people. You know, it should be about the people. Are they having access to safe drinking water compared to previous years? Are they having access to electricity compared to previous years? And, you know, what's about the road conditions in the country? What's about the schools in the country? And so to give an accurate assessment, this is where I agree with Dr. Marley, from the side of any political actor will be difficult because they are in an entirely different place that we are not. All right? Because the president is being told the achievement is having is hearing that the finance minister is signing a 25 million euro, and then there's another signing of this money. For them, those are huge successes. Focus on Liberia reported that there is a U.S. delegation that visited Liberia that pledged to invest 900 million. For them, that is a huge success. You have the Minister of Foreign Affairs, you know, in Switzerland, participating in, you know, a global event where she had an opportunity to meet the richest men in the world. For them, that is monumental. Now, they are of the belief that the fact that they are making these moves, eventually it will translate into improving the human conditions of our people. And there where the disconnect is. Because meeting somebody, pledges being made, is a whole different thing when you want to actualize them. Look, let's use the yellow machine as an example. The whole thing about yellow machine was announced almost 2 years ago. We have not gotten any yellow machine in the country. The yellow machines that they've told us were brought in the country by the government, the very government is telling us, well, those yellow machines are not actually for us. But we saw people lining the streets, celebration. So you see how long it's taking them for them to bring the yellow machine? They are still hoping that they'll bring the yellow machine. And when they put the yellow machines on the road in the counties, you know, conditions will be improved. So they will not be as accurate as they should be. They will not do so because this is a government, the president in particular, he's clear. From what I know, my information, he's going to run. So you don't expect the president to say, you know what, we fail you on the yellow machine, we have not delivered. And, you know, we fail you on hospital healthcare, for example, our hospitals are not doing better. That we fail you on education, University of Liberia continues to become a national embarrassment. Even the government schools are not going to communicate with the Liberian people in that thorough and accurate way. They're not going to do so. They will tell you that they're paying people on time, electricity is better now compared. That's all they're going to do. So you're not going to get an accurate assessment based on the human and material conditions of the people.
Thank you. J. Victor, I see CMC to your name there. So let me ask you, what would be if President Musa Hassan Belete was delivering the State of the Union on Monday? What would he say?
I think the president has already previewed the sort of the nation. The president, the vice president are on record for admitting how very poorly they have performed on job creation. I think that's the single most important item that should be on the president's agenda: how to create jobs and spur the economy. The young people need to work. So yeah, if I were, you know, if we were talking about the state of the nation under the CMC, we'll be talking about how many jobs we've created and how many more we intend to create. The CMC is already at work trying to do this through the various projects we are performing and intend to carry out throughout the country. I think that's where the president really, I think that's where they have, among other things, I think that's where they have really struggled, you know.
So what would be an honest State of the Union, State of the Nation address from President Bouaka or from President Belete?
that we have created no jobs and we intend to struggle. We hope to create jobs. We hope to put people to work. I think that's the most honest assessment of what has happened. The job creation from this government is I don't know if they can point to any jobs that they have created so far. And I believe the president had, I think he promised 150,000 jobs in the first 90 days or so, but there is a number I saw somewhere, but there was some commitment to create jobs and put the young people to work. I don't think that is what we are witnessing.
Talking about jobs, Elvis, what economic message would be misleading? And I mean that in literally. What economic claim would be misleading if repeated in the SONA? Because
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the claim that the Unity Party people are going with is that they've raised record-breaking revenue, right? Something like $800 million or something like that exceeded their projection. That has no bearings on the Liberian people life, like Mr. Sia was saying. They're not filling a record, breaking revenue collection. Don't even mention the fact that you're projecting a budget of $1.2 billion. Because if you look at what you're going to invest in the Liberian people, is minimum compared to the revenue that you're projected to raise come fiscal year 2026. So for me, I think if they even mention anything about budget and tax collection that has no, that they haven't reinvested back into the Liberian people that they can see the tangible benefit of it, that would be a mistake. My whole point here is don't even go there and try to tell the people that you've improved their life because they know themselves they're struggling more than they were struggling 2 or 3 years ago. And that's not a testament that President Weah was making their lives much better, but it's just that things is getting harder. So I think this government, if they think that, let me just say this, let me break apart for a second. I think when it comes to international agencies like the IMF and the World Bank, we almost govern to appease those people, to make ourselves look good on the spreadsheet, rather than governing, like Mr. Sia was saying, for the benefit of the Liberian people so that they can see tangible benefits and tangible improvements in their lives. So when a person like Gafwan, who's trying to do all kinds of maneuvering to show that, to the World Bank that they're on the right course to pay down their debts, to, to bring that inflation, to raise our GDP, those things are all good when it comes to those international bodies. But what jobs, how are you bringing prices down in the country? What jobs are you creating? Those are the things that the people care about. And I think we tend to prioritize the World Bank perspective, the IMF perspective on how our economy is doing so that we can get more loans in the future, rather than really, projecting job, growth and projecting a stronger economy and bringing down prices for the Liberian people. So I think if the president tries to tell the Liberian people that the struggle and the pain that they're feeling is not true, and in fact that the economy is growing, the budget is getting bigger, and thereby things are getting better in the country, that would be a big, big blunder if the president wants to do that. You almost have to pretty much go and beg the Liberian people, please give us more time. We're going to work in the overdrive or overtime to really bring down prices and really improve your lives. I think that got to be the sticking point of the whole speech come Monday.
Dr. Malik, what are some of the true things that the president would be unlikely to say? Either by the economy, either for education, either in, it's true, but the president would not say it. What are some of those things you think?
Well, before I address that question, first of all, I want to disagree with Honorable Nangwe that under the CMC government, job can never be created in Liberia in the absence of creating a stable security condition where investor would take advantage to create jobs. And I thought people are uncomfortable in the system because those who were the opinion down there are now comparing what happened under President Weah and what happened in the Unity Party. Some people are frustrated because they see tea leaf being played, being read. So some people frustration are right in there. To be very frank with you, that means it's like, for instance, we talk about corruption from Hellington up to today. Corruption had not been put under control yet. I have not seen any mechanism put in place to punish corruption. And it was the same with CDC. So in between there, those who had the hope that indeed this government will punish corruption, they are frustrated because they don't see it happening. So that population is there on so many different issues. So let's get back to your question. What was the question again, Honorable?
Yeah, your time finished now.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Sia, what I'm hearing about the legislature, right? There have been some trouble there. I learned that even the conference, the infrastructure conference in Ganta, was boycotted by some legislature. If is the president walking into a united legislature on Monday? And what would that mean if there's division? Because what we are hearing is there are some legislators who are saying the speaker should step down because of bigamy and all kinds of things. So
yeah, there are a lot of issues there at the legislature, specifically at the lower house, the House of Representatives. And those issues will continue to be there. I don't believe that Speaker Kuhn is in charge. Speaker Kuhn, for me, is a disappointment. He made a huge promise that GFK budget will be increased to at least 20 million. He failed miserably. GFA budget did not even increase by 10 million. It's below 10 million. But the speaker increased his budget from 1.5 to 1.8 million. So there will be issues, and they have their own internal politics that they play there. It's about power. You know, speaker is a powerful position. In Liberia, they can say lucrative. I don't know what they mean when they say lucrative, so I'll use their word, right? But then I think my focus is on the report of the president. What would the president be prepared to say? And I think we need to spend more time on that. Given the way United Party has been, governing so far in 2 years, what is the president comfortable to say at this time as accomplishment? And I think it's important. Then we can also look at, we're looking at why you think he will not say. And again, and I feel that is important because it will give us a unique sense of how they feel and also what the government claims it's doing. Because one thing Elvis mentioned earlier was the issue of the budget. I'll give you more specifics as much as possible. They said they increased the budget from around 800 million to 1.2 billion. That's a huge celebration. In fact, they are prepared to even have a party for that. Now, in that 1.2 billion projection, they increase the Lone Star budget by 1 million. The speaker budget is 1.8, but the Lone Star, the national team budget is 1 million. 1 million. Now, the Unity Party is telling us that this is the monumental achievement ever done in the history of the country. Then let's think about that. The national team budget is just a single 1 million. And Unity Party want us to celebrate them that this is a monumental achievement. So these are the kind of things the president will be talking about. Now, from the CSA level, they have been blowing the horn that we are adding more people on the payroll. People who have been volunteering, we are adding it. So expect to hear more of those things. Then they are saying that, look, when we look at the diplomatic image of the country, we have restored the diplomatic standing of Liberia. You see the foreign minister traveling, meeting Elon Musk, and now we're on the United Nations Security Council as a non-permanent member. And all these things they will be telling you. They are signing deals. Then we come to concession agreements, right? Ivanhoe deal, they're going to tell you about it. We heard about a petroleum company that's supposed to come. All of these things, and Sam will always have the list here, and the multiple MOUs that have been signed. So these are the things the president will be prepared to say. And now they said I think they are having some good news now with the yellow machine, 285 pieces. Now it's being finalized. It's coming from China. I heard the other day that they are uploading them to bring them to Liberia. And so then the other thing is road. They've been signing a lot of deals with the African Bank, the IMF, and all that. They will tell you all of these things, that these are the things that they are doing, to restore, sanctity in the country, and they are doing much better. These are the things the president prepared to say. And I think I want to hear from others what they think this president is prepared to say as accomplishment, as success, and so on and so forth.
Thank you. On Monday, the president's message will be judged on 3 basic areas. And number 1, people will judge the president's message based on the direction that he's taking. Number 2, let me get that on there so that we can speak to it. So we will be looking at 3 areas, and that's where I want us to go now. The direction the president is taking, the delivery, and also the discipline. When I talk about direction, does the administration have a clear governance philosophy? Number 2, are there concrete measurable results? And that's what Anthony was talking about. And number 3, is the state focused on priorities, or is it being distracted by optics? I earlier asked the question that what are some of the things he's prepared to say, and what are the things he's not prepared to say? Mr. Nambi, let me start with you now. As the president go to deliver, the first area we want to measure the president on is, does he have a clear governing philosophy? What is it that is driving the president that is going to try to push through on Monday?
Well, if you listen to the president, every time you talk to him, he talks to you about the need to connect the country. Whenever the number of times I've met with him, he almost consistently tells you he feels the country needs to be connected by roads. He believes, our people could do a lot if they're able to get around easily than they are now. So I think he's generally committed to connecting the country. I just don't think he knows how. I think I'm convinced that he doesn't have the capacity. He's aspirational about it, and I respect him for that. But I don't think he knows how. I know you talk about what we think the president will be boasting about tomorrow. Yes, he will talk, increasing the budget to 1.23 billion. Again, aspirational. As Anthony said, within that budget is $10 million that's supposed to come from the asset recovery. How does the asset recovery deliver $1 million to deliver $10 million in 12 months? That's a joke. There's $200 million coming from ArcelorMittal. That's a one-time deal. If you look at the budget over the next 2 years, the budget over the next 2 years has decreased also. The budget for the next year and the following, both of them have decreased because that $200 million is not coming. Is that what you depend on to cast a budget?
But it's still not less than billion, though. So even though as ArcelorMittal, if you take out the 2 for next year,
right,
and the year after, are we below billion now?
Well, shouldn't you be progressing? Why do you decrease? Life is incremental. How do you go up this year and come down next year and come down the following year? To me, that's regression. I don't think that's what you want.
What I mean is, the president will be correct if he boasts about increasing the budget.
Correct.
Why will he not?
It has to be a sustained condition. This is arbitrary. This is temporary, Dennis. You can't make it happen. This is like sugar high. You go to the store, you drink out the Coca-Cola, you feel good, you go home, you crash. Is that really what you want to be doing to yourself?
We're talking this year first, Maybe next year another ArcelorMittal will come, but for this year, it will be correct if he boasts about increasing the budget.
Yes, I agree with you. I think this year is worth to be talked about, but my point is, We celebrated this year. Should we be celebrating moving forward next year, or should we? What do we do about next year? The point I'm making is this, Dennis. I think the things that we need to celebrate are those things that will remain with us permanently. Those things that will improve our conditions over time. I don't know if it is 1 year improvement worthy of celebration, but then again, this is the government that celebrate painting the ministerial complex. They celebrate everything. You turn on 2 street lights at LY Junction, they tell you to turn on the light at RIA. I was on that road. You go before you don't even get a Chevron, you stop seeing the light. And then the little solar light you see there, I think they're probably like 12 watts or whatever. It's virtual darkness. You just see the little dim, something standing on the road. But these are the things we're celebrating: minimalism, mediocrity. I'm sorry. I have a lot of respect for this government, but I just don't think they know how. I'm convinced now that they are depleted. I don't think they will do anything better for the next 2 years. I'm almost convinced about it because I don't think they know how to do it.
And that's why I really want us to talk about, right? Because we get this, and ever since you support President Weah, I want you to be the first on this. Because every year, the things that President Weah boasted about in his persona, this year, when another president comes, they say nothing there, right? And then they will boast about all the things when another person comes. I mean, we're all celebrating the life. We watch it over, focus on like, bro. Now, Namwe, who is from there, is saying, it's dim. So what is this about this development that by the time one person leaves, there's nothing there? And every year we're celebrating these things. What is going on with that? Give me an honest answer. Let's start with President Salif. There were a lot of things about road. They used to show us the labyrinth. They don't show you. Then when President Weah came, he was the bad road medicine. Now you have development gazebo, right? And after he leaves, when the next group comes, they say there's nothing there.
Yeah.
What do you expect the president to say about this development on Monday? And what will be the concrete facts, the tangible to back those claims?
Okay, I think there has been some development. President Weah said something that some people thought was controversial about the Chinese, not helping, to do certain development in the country because perhaps Liberia was not told in a diplomatic line, with China. And I think this president, through his foreign policy and his foreign minister, has probably appeased some of these foreign partners, and maybe now they're more willing to help with, our road developments. But I think one of the things he should tout and probably will tout is that the yellow machines are coming, and they're going to speed up the development of our roads and perhaps the country's infrastructure in the next, 3 or 4 years that's remaining in his term. So I think they blundered bigly by not getting this done the right way earlier, so that the Liberian people will start seeing the benefit of yellow machines being in the country, so that 2-3 years down the line, they will really see some tangible benefit of the roads being improved, new roads being built, roads being maintained, So I don't know why they were trying to do it some crooked D way, and now it blew up in their face, and now they've lost, valuable time. That would have been, the machine should have been on the roads right now doing work. So I think he's going to tout that they've made some improvements with the overhead bridge, some things that, people see, some vanity projects that people will see and ascribe it to this government, steadfastness in terms of, having a developmental agenda. But the yellow machine is something that I personally is looking forward to. And I think if they can get it on the roads, it's going to deeply, greatly improve the road conditions and perhaps maintaining the roads. One of the reasons why development seems to vanish is because once somebody builds something, you can't maintain it properly. The new shine that's on that road or on that, on that new development kind of fades within a year. Because once the weather comes, the rainy season comes, everything gets dusty and dirty. You look at something, it doesn't even look like it was built last year, probably like 5-10 years ago. So I think maintaining development is something that's should be very key on any government coming in the future. If you build something, you have to maintain it so that when people come, they can see that, that road looks new, that road looks nice. The President Weah, when he built his parks, when he built low roads here and there, after a couple of years, that road starts to deteriorate fast because our condition in Liberia is so wet and it's so, muggy. Things start to look old pretty fast. So that's why some people say, things are not working. after a year of presenting them, the lights start to go up. If the solar panel light, you're not going to get the same shine that you had a year ago, even 6 months ago. So that's why people think that like the lights on the Robert P. Howard is already dim because you can't sustain it or maintain the brightness of the bulb because it's based on solar. So there's a lot of things that make any kind of development in our country deteriorate, and because we don't maintain. Well, one thing I wanted to say quickly before I pass the mic is on the budget, right? The budget is going to be improved because we are moving from a GST, a goods and services tax, to VAT. And they're projecting about between 30 to $100 million improvement in tax collection or tax revenue that way. That's one thing that's bumping up the budget, right? And then you're talking about, ArcelorMittal infusing $200 million as a that's almost $300 million projected, for next year or this year that, we didn't have before. So I guess that's an improvement, especially moving from GST to VAT on this government's part. But again, the president is probably going to mention that since the USAID and other, foreign countries left Liberia, not subsidizing our budget anymore. These are going to be some of the constraints, but they came up with ways, to kind of supplement that and move from a GST to a VAT. So I think personally, the president should not mention anything about the United States into the diplomatic gains that they thought they had, because all of that gain had been wiped away. When they talk about a visa extension, once you become useless to Donald Trump, you're redundant and he's going to cut you off. So when we was touting that we were one of the countries in the region where we had visa and we were on a travel ban, now any immigration visa to this country has been banned. Only tourist visa can even enter, and even that you're probably going to have a tall hill to climb to even get approved for a tourist visa. You have to have 15,000 United States dollars in your account. That's going to be placed on hold until you return back to Liberia, then they will release it. So we are in the worst condition along with everybody else. So diplomatically, especially when it comes to the United States, where many Liberian diaspora live, our condition is the same as any other countries in even the Middle East. So I don't want him to tout any kind of diplomatic gains, unless maybe you want to talk about the UN, Security Council seat that it's not a voting member. But besides that, I think the yellow machine should be something that he harps on, put the pressure on the legislature to get it done, because you have to paint out the benefit of the Liberian people in the next couple of years. That if we can get these things on the road, we can build new roads and maintain our roads, and that will help the development of our country.
So taking this thing one at a time, right? What the president will say about this thing and what he will not say on governance, on the economy, on jobs, rule of law, public finance, and then national cohesion. Dr. Malley, on governance, what would the president say that how we doing, and which one you think he will run away from, and which one you think he will embrace? Let's just take these things one at a time and see what we are expecting, what he will say, what he will be open about, what he's going to admit. Because you see, I think what has happened in the past, and what are some of the excuses? I remember during President we had to say, oh, the other time we are Onmil was here. Is President Bouaka going to say, oh, you say was here? So let's run through these things quickly, Dr. Malley. Let's start with governance.
Let's first start with governance. But I don't want to forget to understand that government is a structural institution. It has a vast thing to do. So starting with governance, the president will beat his chest that he had been able to consolidate the peace. The president will beat his chest on that, and I will agree with him because I was just in Monrovia. The president will also beat his chest that there's a free movement of people in Liberia with no hindrance. I saw it, and I agree with him. I will agree with him on that. Electricity is not to the satisfaction as we expect it to be, but I think much better now than before, than what it was under the former president, right? The issue of pipe-borne water. These are things that resonate with the common people. I get water to my house right now. Every morning, the children don't have to go to the well anymore. And this is what we're looking for. And more need to be done, all right? The issue of road. I travel as far as Kolahun district, okay, connecting from Bon County. And the road is better than what it was 3 years ago or 2 years ago, where I have to get on to walk. You see?
Maybe
so-
it depends when you went there, rainy season or dry season.
I went there just last month.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm not measuring it by the season. I'm measuring it by what has happened.
Okay.
Yes. So all these things constitute governance. But the question now is good governance. Have we been able to achieve that? Because good governance is start to transparency and accountability and punishment. This is conspicuously dragging as far as I'm concerned. But on the flip side, the president will be able to beat his chest to let you know that he was able to remove some people from government for ABC reason. He was able to chastise some people because out of my administration or other things. He will tell you that. But the question now is, has anyone been punished for corruption, which also constitute part of good governance? The answer is no. But the president will also be able to, the president will also come in to justify that he has nothing to do with the judiciary. That's a separate branch of government. Whatsoever decision they take, he can interfere. And the president is able to tell you that. He tried his best to remove them, and case being referred to the justice ministry make a case, and the judiciary is an independent place, and maybe they didn't see the merit to find someone guilty to go to jail. So a lot of people were acquitted, or the government did not find a kill successfully. But you would not expect the president to go into the kind of analysis. It's not going to happen. Yes. So for the issue of transparency and accountability, I think more work needs to be done in that era when it comes to governance or good governance.
Thank you. I know we talk about, Mr. Namba, you want to talk about governance a little bit? What would the president say? Because when I talk about government, the system, it's not just changing people, right? And accountability. So what would the president say or not say when it comes to governance?
Well, first of all, Dr. Malley, I think he's using some of these words very liberally. Consolidate the peace. Consolidate what peace? You consolidate something that's broken. Where is the peace that's been consolidated? So I don't know about that. But governance, look, if you go to the NAMO report, I think over 80%, I hope I'm getting the number right, of government function has been done manually up to now. Up to now, they're still writing flat receipt, triplicate, or whatever they used to do. Put a carbon copy in between. You know how much that slows progress? That's governance for you. Let the president talk to us about his port bill. He's over too. This is his governance. This is his rescue team. The rescue team had the Senate and the House. He can't get his port bill. Is that governance? This is the president who has failed to govern his own rescue train. Can we say governance really is on track? Every credible international barometer that is used to measure whatever we're doing here, they talk to you. The governance structure is weak. Accountability is lacking. Corruption is rampant. Everybody tells us, even the MCC compact, those are the places we fail. So I don't know how we can claim moral high ground on accountability or on governance. I don't know. You go to the U.S. country report, they talk the same thing. MCC, they talk the Transparency International, the NAMO, our own local people, they say the same thing. And we don't need to take it from them. Let's look around us. The president.
Mr. Namba, are you saying there's nothing happening at these fronts that the president will talk about?
I like to say something is happening. If it is, I like to say that. Again, I refer you to the NAMO report. 0.8% of the promise. Listen, a promise is a commitment that you make voluntarily, unforced. They made all the promises. They've only 0.8%. I don't know what the government people have to celebrate. I like to join them and celebrate, but I want to celebrate realistically. And we're in year 3 now. This is the midterm year. How much time do they have left? How long do we have to wait? The people continue to tell us, oh, they signed, they negotiating. The foreign minister, and she's my best friend. I respect her. I think she's trying her best. But what is photo op with Elon Musk going to do for us? You know, I don't know. Maybe it will help with Starlink with the connectivity. If that is what we get out of that, that is good. But when you have this meeting, where's the readout on this meeting? What is it they talked about? What were the photos about? Tell us something. Don't just give us photos. I don't know if that's fair to us. You know, you go all the way to Davos, you spend all the money, and you give us photos. At least tell us what the photos are about. What are you taking the picture for? What is it you're negotiating? Tell us something. So I hope they come back with something. But this is what we get all the time. The president said, how many times has he spoken to the press? He comes from the press, he says, stop the RIA for 2 or 3 minutes. You know, they pointed predetermined questions. They put it, Mr. President, how was your trade? Oh, yeah, you know, we talked to people, you know, we talked to plenty of people and all of it, you know, and then he gone. And then we're waiting for the next meeting. So on the question of governance, I don't see the high marks with this government has attained. Transparency, I agree with Dr. Malley. Transparency is questionable. Fight against corruption, questionable. The president suspends these people. They don't restitute. Rosalind Dennis, or Ami Moda, I can name 100. You understand me? All these people, he just suspended. Abdullah Kamara at the LTA. He suspends these people and then they walk and go and go to Cancun and sit and enjoy themselves. We call that governance? I don't think so. I think the president can do better if he wants to do better. I really do believe so. So we'll see, and we'll be listening to what he's going to be celebrating tomorrow. I am sure a lot of fact checking is going to be going on tomorrow on Monday when he's talking.
And that's why we'll be back. Let me go to Mr. Sia on the economy. What would the president say or not say? Because government should have a growth strategy. Policy should translate into household stability. So on the economic front, what would the president be boasting about, and what is he going to shy away from?
On the economy, the president is going to boast about the increase in the budget. They're going to boast about foreign direct investment, that investors are visiting Liberia, that they are in conversation with other foreign countries who have made commitment, many of whom have signed MOU with the government. They believe that, according to Cyril Yanti, the foreign affairs minister, they're talking about economic diplomacy. So for them, when it comes to the economy, because they are tying economics to diplomacy now, which is a good strategy. I like that strategy. But I don't know how bold and big the plan is. I don't know how well they are negotiating. I want to hear big numbers coming to Liberia. And the other thing is, what are they selling? But in their mind, in the mind of the president, in the mind of the government, oh yes, the economy, they feel that they are doing good. Then at least we forget, this is a government that is measuring its success with the previous administration. So anything that they do better, be it 1%, 2% better than the previous government, in their eyes, they are doing, very well. All right. Like the example I gave earlier, increase Lone Star budget by 1 million, we've done well. Increase the budget, we've done well. They build a school, we've done well. Even if the funding was secure and then they build a school, we've done well. But one thing the president will not be able to say, he can't boast about the University of Liberia. I don't think even by mentioning that, to mention that, hey, well, we increased the University of Liberia budget from maybe 28 million to 35 million is even anything good he wants to say. Because if you look at the reality on the ground.
How about BWI?
BWI is a shame. Focus on Liberia have a report on that, and I'm sure you are aware of that report. We might be releasing it soon. BWI and Front Page did a report on a very short report. We saw the buildings. The place is abandoned, 100% abandoned. The place is empty. There's nothing there.
And Mr. Sia, you kind of preempted my question, because even everything that we're going to say tonight, right? What is the measurement? And you said, well, they are measured. When they try to measure, is like what was done last year or under President Weah and what is done now. But is that a realistic measurement?
I think it's
they're moving the needle or not. What is the measurement? What are those metrics?
I think their measurement is terrible. To say, well, Honor President, we are under the CDC. This was not happening. It is happening now. So we are doing better. Then I think it is disappointing. And for me, it is highly disappointing that they can measure the CDC governance with theirs to determine that they are doing well. For them, realistically speaking, that's what they will say, because hey, there's a government before us, and if we are to determine if we're doing well, we got to look at what they've done and look at what we are doing, and that's how we know that we are doing better. And for me, that is a very poor strategy, because what we had with the CDC was a trial and error. We had a president, my hometown boy Joshua from Southtown, who was dancing, who was not serious about governance. And this is the man now. This is the government you're going to measure. All right. It is your yardstick as to how you improve the human and material conditions. I mean, Joshua did better with the University of Liberia. I can challenge any United Party start with right now. Joshua did better with the University of Liberia than this government is doing. Whether you increase the budget or not, no. Look at the university. Teachers are still protesting. You even brought a white woman to be university president, and the children named her Dr. Man problem. The problem is yet to be solved. Professors were protesting the other day. The structure of the building itself is a problem. And there are so many structural issues. We're still talking about bathrooms as we speak. And so when it comes to governance, I am not impressed at all, but for them, they are doing very well. And that is disappointing for me. Because if you look at the Ministry of Information, the minister is excited that they are doing well because the building was leaking. Now they've done some repair, it's not leaking. So for them, that is achievement. But if you ask me, what should be an achievement for the Ministry of Information? Branding the image of the country, explaining Liberia to the world, all right? Providing realistic information, accurate information about the country. That's what they should be doing. You know, I'm not sure if the Ministry of Information has a website that anybody from anybody can go on and read about Liberia, what is going on. Maybe they do. I haven't checked yet. The last time I checked, I didn't see anything serious. So they don't have a good yardstick that they can use. I'm always in Liberia. I will be in Liberia soon. So no one can tell me anything. All right. So when it comes to governance, their yardstick is poor, and so their success that they will have, it will not be to my taste.
Thank you. Evans, let me go to you for jobs and youth, right? What would the president be saying about our youth and job creation? One of the young people, everybody, the first time I interviewed him was in high school. Now he has his master's degree. They are even trying to have a youth political party, because they said the rest of the parties, when we are in them, they just look at us for battle cry. So what pathway exists outside politics and patronage for the youth? What timelines exist for skills to job conversion? You know, with the ones my friend Abdullah was doing at the LTA, you know, the 1,000 tech jobs. So what would the president be saying when it comes to the youth and job creation?
All right, thank you. Look, before I even get there, let me just say this. You know, the world-renowned streamer, Aisha Speed, is coming to Liberia tomorrow. It's on his thing. His next screen is in the Republic of Liberia. You're expecting about maybe 3 to 5 million people to see that screen tomorrow. He just left Benin. He's going to Liberia tomorrow. So this is an opportunity for the government. I don't know who's going to be hosting him. They said that the Ministry of Tourism is going to host him. Hopefully they do a great enough job and they sell our country well. But in terms of job creation for young people in the country, right, there's two issues. One, you have a bulk of our youth, you know, who became quote-unquote Zogos. That's an issue that we have in the country. So a lot of young people, some older people, but a lot of young people are in the streets. They have no education. They have no tangible prospect for future job opportunities. And I'm not going to hold this government feet to the fire, too close to the fire on this, because the reality is that many governments, almost all the governments in the past have had an issue, you know, creating jobs for young people. And part of that reason is that you need money or you need investments to create jobs. And our budget is, you know, is hamstrung by, you know, a bloated government where we're paying 80 or so percentage of our budget to just pay the bills and the salaries of people that work in government. So I think creating jobs for young people is going to be hard. The one opportunity is, is bringing investors into the country. So how do you sell your country? You have a platform that's coming there tomorrow that you can really show the opportunities to people. I hope the young man will probably go to Robert Sport if they set that up for him, showing that there's opportunity there for surfing and other things. They're the ones in charge of it. They're the one getting paid. They have to sell the opportunities to investors because government is not going to hire young people like you're saying, Mr. Ja. If you want young people to have jobs, it have to be in the private sector. It have to be a company or it have to be multiple companies that's going to come and hire young people in bulk. And what are some of the jobs young people can do without a degree? You're talking manual labor, people who are working manual jobs that can sustain them and maybe their young families. Can government provide that? Right now, no. The only way you can solve that problem is by attracting people who are going to bring out that can hire young youth, those who are college educated, maybe many more who are not college educated. Trade jobs that is low skill jobs that will pay young people a decent wage. What are we doing to formulate plans to bring in those kind of investors that will hire these young people? You have a young man, 21-year-old, coming into the country tomorrow, who's a multimillionaire, who has a platform that is bigger than any other platform we've seen for a young black, creator. What is the government doing? People are going to be watching the head of YouTube, Amazon, Twitch. All of them are going to be watching. They watch these streams. Billionaires are watching these streams. People who are company who are attached to this young man are watching these streams. What can you tie the history of Liberia to the United States and the opportunity that's there for new investors to come into the country? Hopefully we'll see something great tomorrow. If not, there'll be an opportunity missed. But when it comes to creating jobs for young people, the government just can't do it. They have to invite people from outside to come into the private sector and create those jobs for young people. And I don't know if they have the capacity to do it.
So what will President Bouakai be saying to young people on Monday?
I mean, anything short of saying that he has failed them on creating jobs for them will be a slap in the face, because I hear, maybe you guys know more than I do, I don't know of any venture, privately or publicly, that has been an opportunity for young people to get jobs. I don't think he's taking any tangible acts, to create any kind of jobs for the young people. So maybe you guys know that I don't know. All we heard about is budget improvement, road building. Maybe he can say he hired some young people to do constructions on the roads. Maybe that's job creation. But outside of that, I don't see any opportunity that's been created for the young people in the last 2.5 years. I don't see it. So you can't even tout that he did anything for young people in terms of job creation. If he say that, that would be a slap in the face. That would be a lie to the nation.
So he will say, I feel you guys?
He would say maybe he got plans in the works. Very soon they have foreign investors coming in. Or maybe they got a program they're working on that's going to get young people to help with the construction of roads. Since they're coming, maybe they're going to start pushing it. Whatever the case, I don't know what these people are doing. I'm not there, but I'm just saying, if that's the sell, he's going to sell them that, okay, in the next year, we'll get the yellow machines on the road. We're going to hire young people as construction workers who are going to help with the building of the country. Hey, that could be hopeful for young people. Maybe you can sign up to start getting training, in the prospect that when the yellow machines are, you're one of the people working alongside, the Ministry of Transportation, or and helping to build the roads. Not the Ministry of Transportation, one ministry said that in charge of building roads. What's the ministry? You guys know. Public Works, the Ministry of Public Works. So yeah, so if you can promise the young people that that's an opportunity, because doing hard work like construction work, you don't need a college degree for it. A lot of young people may not have college degrees, but they can work hard. They can use their back, they can use their body to maybe help to lay quota or help to dig trenches and gutters and things like that. You can maybe hire a few thousand young people in Monrovia and other places where road construction will be going on. But outside of that, you're not building factories. You're not building call centers or data centers where young people can work in. You're not building office space where young college educated people can work in. So the only prospect now is construction. That's it.
Thank you. Let me go to Mr. Nambwe on the rule of law. One of the things the president will be talking about will be the rule of law. Is justice predictable or impartial? Are institutions stronger than individuals? So on Monday, what would the president be saying on the rule of law? What do you think?
Yeah, I hope he just kind of skip that whole part of his governance because, and as I'm sure, even his ardent supporters will agree with me. The removal of the speaker, I think, is going to harm them. The way the speaker was removed, I think every time an assessment comes out against the rule of law is a problem in our country. We're not following the laws. The president illegally removed a sitting speaker of the House of Representatives, and put him a regime speaker who proceeded to preside over a budget that was passed, record budget in record time, less than 2 hours. So I think the rule of law is a problem for this government. I mean, let's talk about the way they remove people from tenure positions. That is the rule of law problem. I think the rule of law in this country is unpredictable. I think investors like predictability. I like to know when I go to bed and wake up tomorrow what is going to happen. I don't think we can say that about our justice system right now in our country. The rule of law continues, we continue to bend the rule of law towards the government, towards the elite. I mean, look at Brian, what's his name? McGill. You can't tell me with the abundance of evidence that everybody talked about, this gentleman walked. Abdullah Kamara walked from LTA. That can't be called justice. So I think the rule of law, I think we think around with the rule of law, the rule of law is what the president wants. The president, the fire happens at the Capitol building. What does he do? In a matter of hours, he goes on there and makes a judgment call. And ever since then, you see how the people are still struggling with trying to come out with a plausible explanation as to how this fire was set at the Capitol building. So we're not following the system. We're not following the rule of law. We're not governed by rule of law in Liberia. I can cite several additional examples, but I think the rule of law in our country has been thrown out the window. You go to court, you don't expect to be given justice. Justice favors those who are in power. And that is a problem too. My brother Mali, you mentioned earlier that he doubts whether I said the CMC, will encourage creation of jobs and all that. He talked about security, but the rule of law is a security problem. The government is supposed to create an enabling condition for investors to come in. If the country is so ungovernable, if the rule of law is so unpredictable, I don't know if any investors want to come in. Look at the Chinese people fighting with the port director. You call that rule of law?
Mr. Number, but investors are coming, right? You heard of Elon Musk. You heard of the $900 million pledge. You heard, the influencer is in Liberia. So that tells us that rule of law is working, unless you have other reports. Mr.
Okay.
Number.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
No, I said go ahead. With all this actual speed, Elon Musk, the $900 million pledge, your friend Sam Waller will always talk about the event hole. I don't know. So with all these things, ArcelorMittal and all these people, the concentrator and all these different things happening. So you can say rule of law or the lack thereof is scaring away investors.
Yeah. So when we bring these investors into the country and we're giving them, 30%, we're taking 30% on the dollar, they're taking 70%. I don't know if that is really because they think they rule of law as much as they're coming to make a killing in spite of the lack of rule of law. They know they will face a lot of uphill battle, but now we're saying at the end of the day, they will cash in. I'm talking about the rule of law that will allow ordinary people like you and myself, the ordinary mom and pop investor, to come into the country and feel confident enough to come and invest. You are a very wealthy man by our Liberian standard. You should go and invest in Liberia. You're trying that, but you're struggling because the environment is not conducive. Everybody wants a bribe. And then even when you bribe the people and they dupe you, you go to the court, you get nothing. You get nothing. But you do that if you were a millionaire, you could afford to throw away maybe $200,000 in bribes, and at the end of the day, you can withstand the weight. At the end of the day, you get paid out. But not many people can do that. I think this is what I'm talking about. Every report tells us the rule of law is a problem. Transparency is a problem. Accountability is a problem. So I don't know. Otherwise, are we going to be counting investors on one hand? Is that really what we're talking about, Dennis? I mean, Elon Musk, he brought Starlink. How many people can afford Starlink in Liberia? You know, people are still going to Orange and MTN because they can't afford Starlink. So I don't know if we really.
I see a lot of
One second, please. Yeah, 1 second on the Starlink issue. Starlink is really cost effective. My family have Starlink. You pay $220 for the mini kit, and it's $50 a month unlimited internet. So that $50 a month, people can say recharge. You know, like my family member used like almost 2 terabytes of data. You know, watching show on her phone, whatever. And the point is that after that, it's way cheaper than buying data and recharging is the number. So I think the Starlink investment and the cost effectiveness of it is, you know, is a positive for people not having to recharge their phone or recharge.
So that is cost effective for a Minnesota guy, but Elvis, I don't know that many people you'll find like bro who can fork out $220 and then just for the kit and pay $50 a month. Most of the people they don't spend more than $10 on cell phone bill per month. I mean, you go in there, you just say you travel, you charge your phone for $5, you know, you own it for days and days and days on end. You know, so I don't know if that is comparable, but if that is the argument the government is prepared to make, let them go ahead and make it. We will make our argument from the CMC end, and we'll take it to the people in 2029 and see who they will prefer.
CMC, that's another discussion. I will come back to that. Let me go to Dr. Mali. Dr. Mali, you heard Mr. Namwe practically saying, you know, everything is bad, and the president, you know, there's nothing that he's looking forward to that the president is going to say that, you know, to say that it's working well. I want to get your take.
Well, I vehemently disagree with Mr. Nangwe. CMC might be a government in waiting. They have not been tested or tried. We've got a government that is being tested already, and we try to evaluate the outcome of this government. But if Honorable Namwe will continue to say that President Bouaka removed a sitting speaker, I'm taking it aback. We are intellectuals. We can be saying these things. The judicial branch is different from the executive as well as the legislature. So we cannot just come up and say, oh, the president moved this guy, and therefore rule of law is in jeopardy in Liberia. Now you have some people coming into Liberia now, Starlink and other people, they're beginning to see things. I think what we need to be talking about is removing the monopoly in Liberia to create competition for investors to come in. I think that's what we need to be talking about. But the question of rule of law, by our standard as a developing country, I think we are trying. We are already trying. It's not perfect, but I think we are trying. Do we need judicial reform? Yes. Right? So if we start to make the kind of open statement,
we are trying. What do you mean, Dr. Mali? What do you mean we're trying?
I come in now, Honorable Nangwe.
Can you explain that we're trying?
Try to indict a sitting president, interfering with another branch of government, then politics now is trying to permeate the discussion. And I don't think we should be doing that. There's no evidence.
Dr. Mali, the president said he will work with the majority black, even though the Supreme Court ruled different.
I come in heavy. What I'm saying, we don't have a perfect system. But our standards as a developing country, I think we are striving with rule of law. Yes, it's not that ridiculous. I will try to put it. I disagree with that.
And Dr. Mali, so what would the president be saying? What would the president report on rule of law be like?
Oh, the first thing the president want to say is that we have 3 branches of government, and one branch cannot interfere into another branch of government.
No, one branch
and therefore, what happened in the judiciary cannot be questioned by the executive. And the executive cannot interfere with the judicial system.
I don't think the president will say that.
Okay. But then the second thing the president will say is that I think the judicial system is not that bad. We are trying. It's difficult to get there. We will get there.
And where are we supposed to get?
Oh, don't forget now.
No, where are we
There's
supposed to
something
get, and
called-
how far are we from that place?
Well, maybe the second term. You see,
Thank you.
because I see some
Right.
incremental
Right.
development.
Second term for anybody, oh man.
Gentlemen.
We credited
There are
them.
there are some incremental achievement coming into Liberia. We must admit they may not be to our expectation, but at least something is happening, and we need to acknowledge those things. Thank you.
Mr. John, let me rebut for 30 seconds, please. I mean, Dr. Mallory, with all due respect to you, you know, PhD holder, very smart man. You were well informed that the president, after the Supreme Court ruled that the majority bloc was ultra virus, they didn't have the right to do what they did. The president stood before the nation and said that he will work with the majority bloc because they have court, even though the judicial system clearly state that they have no right to remove the speaker. So to say that he didn't interfere, and many people even suspected that he was behind financing those people rebelling against the legitimately elected speaker. We saw that he removed tenure officials. He fired people and then negotiated with them behind their back and paid them off and gave them severance. So to say that the president respects the rule of law is an insult to us on the panel, because we all saw it and we were all up in arms about the president spitting in the face of our constitution and our rule of law. You've done it multiple times and he continues to do it. But he's not a president that respects the rule of law. Let's be honest on the platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. C, I'm coming to you on the public finance law, right? Public finance management. So public finance, what trade-offs were made in spending, what was cut, and why? You know, when we look at all that, involving with our public financial management, PPCC laws and auditing, the prudent financial management of our resources, what would the president be saying? Will he mention the Foya Villa?
Dennis, this is like the fulcrum of it all. For us to run a country, we need money. And even if we get the money, how do we prioritize the money? How do we spend the money? How do we even budget? That's the key before we come to the management aspect of it. So I'm glad that you brought this up. And I'm not sure what the president going to say in terms of whether they are, executing prudent financial management of the country finances. I don't know what the president going to say. Well, if you look at the budget, the way it's being executed, you know that the budget is not in line with the government priorities. We have a government that is saying that roads is one of the things it wants to really make a mark. How much money has been set aside for the road? If there's anything significant set aside for road, it will be from money they are borrowing from other IMF, African Development Bank, or any other maybe developing country, developed country that is coming in to help us. How much did we set aside for road infrastructure in Liberia, for example? The last time the president talked about Liberia trying to claim the digital age, how do we going to set aside 10,000 young people to focus on, technology? Where are we with that? In fact, we are struggling with the fight on drugs. How much money has been set aside to even fight drugs in the first place? We are talking about pitiful 1 million for Lone Star. We can't even get qualified for World Cup. We go to African Cup, it's a disaster. A good reason for that is, first, we're not putting more money, and if the little we put there is not managed properly. Let's look at our counties. Dennis, you are a superintendent in waiting. And I'm sure you subscribe to decentralization, where your county will be given at least 10 million so you can run Sano County, for you to be in charge of your own schools, your own clinics, your own roads, your own police, everything. Do you know that since Ellen Johnson Sirleaf time, what Liberian government generates I mean, actually project, not generate, for the counties has been less than 200,000. 200,000 US dollar is what they always put in the budget. In one of President Bwaka's budget, they downgraded it to 185,000. And even with that, they cannot raise all the money for the money to reach to the counties. So you're talking about financial management, got to talk about why you're putting aside, why are your priorities? Your priorities are not aligned. And then when you come to the management aspect of it, people got to follow PPCC. You heard the other Liberian businessmen were crying that he should have gotten a deal. He did not get the deal. The other time there was the news that a Sierra Leonean company was preferred over a Liberian company that got a contract for road construction. So PPCC laws always been violated. We know that to be a fact. At some point, we reported on that when the National Election Commission, Director Brown Lassana, was in hot water for now following PPCC laws and all that. So it is not a one government problem. It has been every government's problem. Now, another last thing I say is that there should be periodic report, budget performance report. This is something all of our governments have failed. Quarter by quarter, there should be a report. How much was raised? Even for them to make a concise report about how much has been raised within a quarter, they're not even consistent with that. If you project a $1 billion budget, you have 4 quarters. In the first quarter, did you get at least 1/4 of that? They can't even tell us. So when it comes to public financial management, all the good laws that are on the books are not followed. They are all violated. No one cares about them at all. In as much as the budget is passed, everybody is chasing the budget. You heard Francisco said it the other day. All right, when he got in trouble with his colleagues, hey, what we do is there are few lawmakers sitting at a hotel. They will call Ministry X. Hey, we got your budget before all years of $4 million. What you get for us so we can approve it. There was a former speaker speaking, and that's why I don't even show any sympathy for him the way you were removed, because this is the game they play. Flantine has been in trouble before, so going to Liberia, he should have a change of mind and how he does things, right? So Dennis, to answer your question, no, it's terrible, it's bad. Our people are not doing a better job, and it is about time that they do a much better job. Get your priority right, raise the money, make sure the money is used for the internal purpose, and that there should be accountability and report. All right. We've been getting the report from the Auditor General. The Auditor General has been doing her work, releasing the reports, sending the reports to the House of Representatives. I don't know if anyone has been held accountable in a very serious way, true oversight responsibility of the lawmakers for these, other reports that we continue to hear about. One is exposed and it's a wildfire, and the next thing, boom, the noise ceases, and no one gets, held accountable for that. So it's not looking good, Dennis, in my opinion.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is the State of the Nation before the State of the Nation. If you want to be part of the conversation, please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. And you mentioned something about the superintendent in waiting. Yeah. I've already published my State of the County address, and I'm challenging other superintendents, current superintendents, to publish theirs. The president is giving the State of the Nation on a Monday, so we are encouraging other superintendents to publish the State of the County address. I think it's a good thing, because if the president is doing that, and you are in charge of a county, I think you should do that. Dr. Mali, I wanted you to talk about the public finance law too before we bring in our callers.
Yeah, I think I want to agree with Mr. Shea on this. There's a need for financial discipline to actually, I think it's one of the areas that actually need reform as well. But what I want to say here is that in the absence of putting corruption under control, it becomes very difficult for the reform to take place. A precedent needs to be set. You see, if people are held accountable and go through the judicial process and are punished for some of these things, then the reform kick in. I think there'll be a leeway. You see, Because we can talk about all these fine things. When corruption is beneath, I don't think we're going to go anywhere, especially to the level where the culture of impunity, people just take money and go away. And like Mr. Sid said, it becomes like a bushfire the next day, you know, everything just subsides. You see? So until we begin to punish people for these things, our financial management will continue to be in shambles. And even bringing reform in may not even work, because corruption will still be hanging on the stairs and nothing we can do about it. So we first of all need to start from there by putting corruption under control. Then when that happens, the reform kick in. Then we protect the reform and move forward.
Thank you. And Evans, talking about the financial system. First, let me just share this with you. You know, it's kind of outside, but here is the superintendent policy blueprint. It's kind of a little small, you're not right. So I have a 2026 to 2030 blueprint, which is already done, and I'm going to publish it so that other superintendents will look at this. Because as you see, for us to do a state of the nation, for us to do a plan, at least write something down so that at the end of the year, we use that to measure you, to evaluate you. That's why when I see people giving grades, so if I show you this plan, Mr. Evans, at the end of the year, when I'm giving my state of the nation, of the state of the county, that's what you're going to use. And say, you said you are going to do this. Have you done it?
Yeah.
So as we get into, and I want you to use that as we get into 2020, the president will be giving a State of the Nation address. How do you think the president is going to grab the arrest agenda, all the deliverables that have been outlined, and kind of touch on them a little to say, well, as we said from the beginning, the president got to tell us where we are, you know, where we are now, how we got here, and what will be done next, and by whom. And we can see how that was laid out in the AAID. Do you think the president is going to bring that in and make a case?
Yeah, I think he's going to probably make that case more on the potential of what could happen in the future and tie in with that, because potential of future prospects always is more attractive than what you've done, because the people are going to see it to be menial. They're going to see it to not be anything so, great. But if you can foster or at least, give them, the idea that things are going to get better and they're going to align with your AA agenda, arrest agenda for inclusive development, I think that the president is probably going to tell us how things are going to be so much better next year. That's one of the things that he's going to harp on, that they have so many programs in the works and that these things will correlate with the arrest agenda, and they're going to do the development with the yellow machines. And you have people coming in who are pledging this and pledging that will help them foster with the 8 billion development goal, and all those kinds of different things will be so flowery, and people who listen to the speech would think, our own friend Sam Water would think that things are really going to tick up next year. There's always that idea that next year, man, we're going to be going, all the way to the moon, because all of these things are in the pipe work, in their lineup, and things are going to really be taken up, come the next year. And usually these things don't materialize the way that the president kind of paints them out to be. And one of the things I would say is researchers, right? Are we sending people into our counties to see what our people are struggling with? Now, some of these things we can see on the face, development is lacking. But are we sending people who work for government to go into these different villages and towns and see some of the things that people don't have there that we can easily provide for them? What about having a national or county-wide level of building wells? Some people still drawing water from creeks in Liberia. We can build well in that country very easily. So some of these county development, ideas is something that the central government themselves have to do some research into these counties, come back and say, look, in Grand Jita County, for example, there's a lack of latrines. A lot of people don't have toilets. We have to take a country, a county focus.
Before you continue, when you say government, who should be doing that?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to say this because we're a decentralized country. The counties don't really have the facilities or the capacity to send out people who they're paying to do this kind of research to come back to them. So I think the central government have to do it, and that's one of the burden of being a central government. You have to get involved in every facet of every county's running. So the central government have to send workers because some of these people get degrees, they're not doing anything, they don't want to stay in Monrovia. You have to send them to the Leeward counties. Go in there, go into these different villages, see what they have and what they're lacking, make a report and come back to us. And that way, when we're allocating these monies along with the superintendents, we can pinpoint some issues that we can easily fix. Some issues are more difficult to fix, like building roads and things like that. But building latrines, building like hemp farm, maybe you're going to build 30 hemp farm in a specific county this year to give people more access to safe drinking water, or build 30 bathrooms where people can don't have to urinate or defecate in the bushes. They can use a toilet system. These are some of the research that our country is supposed to be doing to help improve the lives of the people that's not living in Monrovia, and they're not doing that. They take $200,000 to give it to a couple of senators who are going to pocket maybe half of that money, give it to the superintendent, and they're going to pocket another 75, another 50% of the money. So I think having decentralized government makes sense, but until we do that, our government has to get involved in looking at the lives of the people in these counties and recommending certain investments that's going to benefit their lives.
All right, we don't have a caller here. I want us to conclude on this sentence. One sentence the nation needs to hear on Monday. What will be that one sentence, Mr. C? Why you think about that? Let me check the. Okay, yes. Still, we don't have. Few things happen. Things happen quite recently. Kind of current issue. I don't know if those things will play a role in the state of the nation, right? Number one, the people at Shefflin, that's being a major issue. People from Shefflin, they say you got to leave. Somebody was also telling me about the police barracks. These are places that regular people occupied during the war, and they've been there for the past 20 years. Now you say, you need to leave. Where are they going? Some are demanding compensation. We saw the same thing with the Hotel Africa. Things were rough. People were seeking refuge, and people stayed there. Imagine being in a place like that for 20 years. That means you have children there. The children have gone to even have children, and you are there. Now they say leave. That's one thing that happened, a few days. Another thing that we saw is the burning business, and people were running with things, and that became a big news. For me, I sat back and I started to reflect. Why are these things happening? Another thing that happened and we spoke about it a little bit, is the finance ministry with their portraits on the wall, and they said one is missing, and that became a national issue. Another thing that we saw, quite recently is the immigration issue that's happening in America, and there seems to be a fight with people in Liberia. Oh, send them. Oh, don't send them. And we're hauling and pulling. All these to me speak to something that is going on in the country. How would the president tie all these things together on Monday to give us hope? Because we in America, you can even have your citizenship. People are panicking. I remember the president said, I don't know, he was joking one time. He said, if you think you're dead, Trump is coming for you, right? And now things are really bad. People are being arrested for DUI 4 or 5 years ago and on deportation list. What is the president going to do to kind of give people hope so that we'll look forward to the coming year, and that the government is kind of feeling the pain of the people? Let's talk about that before and then we can end it with what the one sentence that people need to hear. So, Mr. Sia, you stay on the floor for that.
I really don't know. It's difficult to tell what kind of one sentence because
Yeah,
if
let's talk about the things that I just narrated that are happening. How will the president speak to us on those kind of pressing issues?
no, the president will not address those issues in the State of the Nation address. The State of the Nation address is not about issue about picture people being taken out because at Hotel Africa there were some people that were removed from there, and the city mayor has been trying to move people from some places where they're selling. They're not going to be in the State of the Nation address. If there is one sentence that Liberian people should want to hear, it should be that as of maybe July this year, civil servants, the least each person will make will be maybe $350 or $400. That will be an exciting news for them to hear. But I'm not sure if it will be in the State of the Nation address. So to answer your question, if there is one sentence the people want to hear, that sentence should be, and I say will be, should be that beginning July of this year, the least a civil servant will make will be $400 or $350 United States dollars. That is the one sentence that we want to hear. And I'm not sure if we're going to be there. Maybe it will come in the future.
Thank you. Mr. Naboy, I want to come to you too on all those issues because the State of the Union should restore hope in the people. If the people are, when they are feeling the pinch out of their pocketbook, out of their immigration status, they have no place to stay. All these things, what would the president say to calm our fears and our anxieties on Monday? And what would be one sentence that Liberians should hear from the president?
I think the president will do well if he tells us how he intends to rejuvenate the economy. I agree with Anthony. I think what they're paying people there in Liberia is not a livable wage. I think people need to be paid better. But to do that, you have to back that up by the capacity to pay them. I think just promising to lift people up, in his statement is not sufficient. So I think the president should do that. I agree, but then he should explain to us, how he intends to rejuvenate the economy, how he intends to bring in investment, how he intends to create jobs, how he intends to raise the revenue. I think if he does those things, realistically laying out concrete terms in how he's going to do that, I think it will go a long way to give people hope. But right now, talking about the immigration thing we talked about, why are people so anxious to leave Liberia? I don't think we don't love Liberia. It's because to live in Liberia and make a living is hard. People want to live in a country and work and enjoy themselves, pursuit of happiness. If we can do it anywhere, why can't we do that in Liberia? And so I read what Ambassador Eli Shonen wrote on his perception of why Liberia was put on the visa, pause list, and I think he makes a good point. I think people are being pulled away from Liberia instead of being pushed back into Liberia because making Liberia is almost impossible. It's like you're in Liberia, you're condemned to suffering. And why? Why is it that our people should just believe that they were born to suffer and die suffering? Why? And the sad thing about it is there is a few, people who are living it up on the people's dime, on the people's money. Most of these people come in government for nothing, and they leave government, and they live in government in luxury and leave government in luxury. And this president, I thought he understood this problem. He came into this government in the mansion, promising to do something about it. He's 3 years on now. He's still trying to find his way. I'm really hugely disappointed. I am really, and I don't see any fundamental change happening between now to 2029. I think if it were going to happen, it would have happened a long time ago. You know what they say about Christmas and Christmas Eve. So, I hope the president, in spite of all this, tomorrow will come out and give us an upbeat tune and at least help to prescribe for us what it is he intends to do as a roadmap, as Dr. Mali said earlier. What is going to be the roadmap to lift our people out of this misery? Too many people are suffering in Liberia, and it's getting worse. Yesterday, somebody reported RIA, there's no light at RIA. How is it that investors are supposed to come into the country encouraged? The very first place you put foot, there is no electricity, you're sweating bullets. you know, and you know, like you can't communicate with your business, you know, no internet connectivity, no Wi-Fi, you know, why? You know, I mean, Sierra Leone, Ghana, and these countries are making strides. You know, they in the Capitol building, they're passing a Salamantel bill in the darkness. In the darkness. And these people got over $50 million in the budget. You know, and we come on here and people give us a list of aspiration. Oh, this is gonna happen. I don't want to hear anything about future. I want to hear about now. What is happening now? Don't talk to me about, you know, oh, there's a pledge or there's an intention to do this. We've been living on intention for the past 100 years. So, you know, I hope the president will bring out tomorrow. I'm sorry, I keep saying tomorrow, Monday, a prescription on how to deal with this crushing poverty that our people are going through. Mothers are crushing rocks in Liberia today to send their children to school. You know, while people are chartering jets to fly over the, you know, globe-trotting, and they don't want us to talk about it. When they talk about it, they call you unpatriotic. You think that is fair to the people? Mothers are crushing rocks to send their children to school, and you get a charter jet, you go and sit down in Davos and take pictures and send them back home, and we should be happy about it? We should be happy? I don't think so. It's my country too. I deserve to enjoy my country the same way Americans are enjoying their country. They're managing their resources here. That's why they're enjoying. And that's why they tell to go back to our SO country, because they know we don't know jack about running a country, and we continue to prove it every day. You know, we come on here and people think we're joking here, they're writing all the nonsense in the comment section. Who got time for this foolishness? We're talking about real life and death situation occurring in Liberia. You over here philosophizing people suffering. That's what we come here and say what? 3 years running? You can't figure it out? Come on, man.
Thank you. And talking about the immigration issues in the country, on Sunday, we're going to have the attorney Patricia B. Minicum of the Minicum Law Firm. She's going to, let me call that correctly, that's the Minicum Law, LLC. We're going to be talking about our current ICE operations, and then the USA Liberia visa suspension list. That's this list we own now. So what does that mean? What do we need to do? You know, what are the things, you know, this is right now it's tough in Minnesota. So we want to know how to go about navigating these things. So we call a fellow Liberian who is practicing an immigration lawyer here in the state of Maryland, in the USA, and she will be our guest so that we can talk through this thing. Please join us. It is our, you know, what we do here. Anytime we are confused, we go to the experts to hear from them. So tune in Sunday, 7 p.m. right here. And I will be here too to talk to our sister.
We ain't hiding right now in Minnesota. We're staying inside every day. We're going outside there. But no, look, Mr. Nambwe, to just kind of say what, you know, respond to what you said. And, you know, usually I don't like.
I want you to answer my question. Why are you responding to Mr. Nambwe?
Yeah, because
I understand his frustration, especially those of us who have, you know, born in the village behind the house on plantain leaf, have to cross 4 creeks to get to school. You know, stand there, go to school. You know, you and Jikas in the classroom fighting. From there, you make your way. You know, it's time for us to go back to our country and work, and it's time our people deserve something. Back home in my little village, there's practically no life. School is not happening. People are in the bushes, mining, all the water sources contaminated. People are dying, all kinds of things happening. So yes, I agree with Mr. Nambwe. This is life and death situation that people are always playing politics with.
Yeah.
So tell me that one thing that you want the president to hear on Monday. One sentence.
Right.
And how would the president address all these, our anxieties, our pains, and the things that, as the Bible says, so easily beset us?
I don't know if I have the brain power for it, but let me just say what I wanted to say, right? James, let's just embody James Carville. It's the economy, stupid. Every other thing is secondary. Lighting up highways and, you know, looking at optics and how the people will see your country. Yeah, those are fine. But if your people are hungry, you know, it baffles me that President Weah was so bad to many people. But the marketers, the consumers, the people are saying that during Weah time, it's not a indictment that he was a great president, but they have more money in their pockets. You know, many people find it baffling and hard to believe because the educated class think that when you puffer and you present yourself in a better light, that means that people's life is better. And like what Mr. Sandwater was saying here, all of these prospective investments, $1.2 billion commitment, MOU, understanding, those are not things that are tangible in the lives of the people. People can barely afford to live in Liberia. Things are getting harder by the day. So all of your international and foreign, gains, it means nothing if the citizens are not being affected by it. So I think the economy has to be the president's top priority in his speech. He has to harp on the benefit that's quote unquote coming. And don't try to use numbers. That's one of the reasons Biden lost the elections, because the Democrats kept telling the country that things were better. Inflation wasn't as bad as they thought it was. It was only kind of like imaginary. Real inflation was really lower, but many people were struggling. So that's why people tend to lose election when you think that the numbers is telling you that things are good, but the reality on the ground for the people are telling them they're not good. So you have to kind of bring those two things together and put your numbers aside and focus on the people actual, plight that they're going through. So I think for me, the president has to tell us that there's help on the way for the economy. There's help on the way for young people in everyday Liberia. And these are the tangible steps that we've taken. And you're going to start seeing these changes and these benefits come in the next 3 months, within the next quarter, or the next 4 months, So if you can't do that, any other puffing and telling how things are great economically for the people when they can see it, or how we looked at more with more respect on the international stage, when that's not putting food on the table, all of that would be nonsense to their ears, unless you're telling them that things are going to get better for them economically.
Thank you. Dr. Mali, and one sentence for the people.
Well, the first thing I want to say here is that the running of a government is not an event. It's a process. And one government can never develop a country. Country is developed incrementally from one government to another. This government cannot solve all the problems, but this government can put in place mechanisms to minimize problem. But what I see in Liberia nowadays is like we try to politicize the issue of poverty. Like poverty has gone to the extreme where people are not eating, people are not even having one meal a day anymore in our country. It's not true. Okay? If the government will focus on tabletop issue, like keeping the price of rice down, making sure that they expand electricity, making sure that people have affordable health care, because that's one of the areas the population often focus, right? And the issue of water, at least is being expanded in Monrovia. I don't know to what extent. How can it now go beyond Monrovia, beyond Montserrat County? You see, because there are two schools of thoughts in Liberia right now. People who focus is on the tabletop issue, and other people who focus on building roads, war crime thing, asset recovery. There are people in Liberia that focus. But on a general note, if you can help to reduce the hardship for ordinary Liberians, I think this is the message the Liberian people are waiting to really hear. Where are we going from here now? You see, for the intellectuals, we'll be very happy on some other sophisticated thing that rolls. Okay, they're trying. All right, asset recovery. Okay, maybe they're trying. Okay, war crime, war economic crime code. Okay, they're trying. So it's like the people's opinion varies a lot.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, I want to.
Yeah, but things are not as bad.
No. So what is that one
sentence?
sentence? Here's my question. The one sentence the nation needs to hear. 2 seconds. What is that sentence?
Reduction of prices on food and other commodities.
Thank you. I don't know how they're going to do that. So
it's expected right now.
We have 5 minutes to close. In that 5 minutes, I want you to conclude with this. Mm-hmm. What is the state of the nation?
still talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Let's
state
go
of
around
the
the
nation.
room. What is the state of the nation? One word. Oh, no, it doesn't have to be, it can be a sentence or a word.
Well, the state of the nation will be positive.
What does
It
that
will be
mean?
acceptable.
Okay. Mr. Nawe, the state of the nation.
Floundering, uncertain. I mean,
The state of the nation is
discouraging.
uncertain.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is. You know, look, I know you said once when the president of the republic comes onto the radio or the podium, he is to assure us, give us hope, right? You come and tell the state of the nation is strong. The state of the nation is the economy is strong. Can the president really say that on Monday? I mean, he'll be misleading us.
Thank you. Mr. Morris, what is the state of the nation?
I think right now we're in a state of profligacy, right? What that word means is that you're spending precious resources on unimportant
I didn't hear
things.
the word. Can you say that again?
Profligacy. Profligacy is somebody who's taking their menial resources and spending it on unimportant things.
Let me write that down
So-
because I didn't know that's a new word for me.
Yeah. So you buy cars that are $1.3 million. You're spending money on a resort in Foya that is that the price is astronomical when those money and those resources could be used to benefit the lives of the Liberian people. You're increasing salaries of lawmakers when there should be cuts, and that cut should be reverted back to benefiting the lives of the Liberian people. So we're living in a state of profligacy, spending our resources on things that is not necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sia, the state of the nation.
Business as usual.
On that note, I want to say thank you, gentlemen, for the time. We want to appreciate those watching, even those who will watch later. On Monday, we are coming back to do a post-analysis of the state of the nation. And we're going to have a scorecard. Gentlemen, I think you have your scorecard already. We're going to have a scorecard so that you can talk to us on the state of the nation. This is how it looked like. It may appear a little small, but this is what you're going to be filling out, the state of the nation address. We're going to job process of. So if you want this, I'm going to put that on the show so that you can fill out this sheet as President Bouaka will be delivering the state of the nation address. On that note, we're going to close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Have yourself a very good night, and may God richly bless you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our